Ever run into problems with focus? Well, today I'm going to teach you a very simple hack that will help yourself focus. Thanks for tuning in to Journaling with Steve. I've been gone for a few weeks caring for my father, who's got Parkinson's and dementia, and it's great to be back. Let's dive right into today's content. There are 3 things that you need to know about focusing. 1, it's 1 part physical. 2, it's 1 part mental. And 3, you can do physical hacks to help your mind focus and harness all those wandering thoughts. And I'm going to teach you one today. Now, I know how this works. Some of you, when you see this hack, are going to say, that's idiotic. I will never do that. And others of you are going to say, hey, that's super simple. I can do that. All I'm going to say is, it's been used by some of the greatest hitters ever. Here's the story. In the 1990s, I got to know a batting coach for the San Diego Padres, of all things. One day, I asked him, how can a batter learn to block out all the distractions from the crowd and focus in on the pitch? He looks at me for a minute and he says, Steve, who do you think was the greatest consistent batter of all time? I'm like, Rod Carew. He says, good. I'm going to show you the same trick I taught Rod 25 years ago, and Tony Gwynn uses it today. I'm like, cool. He says, y'all got a pencil? Sure, here. It's not for me, it's for you. I'm like, okay. Well, I want you to hold that pencil as far away from your face as you can. So I did. And he says, now tell me what you see. I see a yellow pencil. Well, come on now. What else do you see? I said, well, it's got an eraser on it. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. And it's kind of dull, like it could be sharpened. It's all right. Now, why don't you move it in about a foot? Now, what do you see? Well, it actually looks a little more golden than yellow now. There are 3 green bands on it. Now, I want you to move it in just as close to your face as you can. And now, tell me what you see. Make sure you can still read what's on the pencil. I'm like, oh, okay. It is a Ticonderoga number 2 pencil. All right. Now let me see the pencil. So I handed him the pencil and he looks at it and he says, I see a Ticonderoga number 2 pencil. Above the 2 are the letters HD. Next to Ticonderoga, there is an R for the registered trademark. Next to Ticonderoga on the other side, it says Dixon. There are 6 facets to the pencil. And on the opposite side of Ticonderoga, I see the name and address of your store, along with your name and phone number as the store manager. I count 18 indentations on this facet. Looks like about 24 on this one. I'd say somebody's been chewing on this pencil. And right on down the list. He kept on going and going. He saw so much detail. And he hands the pencil back to me. And he says, now, anytime you're struggling to focus, you just remember Ticonderoga number 2 pencil. And so I have ever since. Now you're probably asking, what has that got to do with journaling? I'm going to show you. I turned this into a journaling hack, and I'll explain why in a moment. So let's take a look at this pencil. And all we're going to do is write down details, okay? So it's yellow pencil. It's got 3 green bands on it. That center band has a number of ridges on it. I don't think I can count them right now with ridges. There's a smudge mark on the eraser. There are 2 indentations right there that look like teeth marks. And it is 6-sided, so it's got 6 facets. Okay, that should give you an idea. Now the question is, why am I writing it down? And here's why. I'm going to write down each detail as I see them for just a few minutes, like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then I'm going to set it aside. Then throughout the day, I will go ahead and come back to this page, look at the pencil, and come up with additional items that I didn't see before. It can get real fun. I turned this into a spy game. I pretended that a super spy had hidden a secret message that could save the world inside this pencil. There's one more bit of fun to this story. I showed you the tooth marks on this one. Well, I had a coworker at the time named Bob. Bob and I played these incredible pranks on each other. We worked together for 6 years and we had these pranks going. They were fabled. One day I came back from being off and there were additional indentations on this pencil. And I'm like, what the heck? Somebody else has been chewing on my pencil, which was really sick. Well, a few days later, I come back and there are more indentations and the patterns don't match my teeth. I'm like, oh no, what is going on? Somebody's chewing my pencil. Now, it turns out what Bob was doing is I would leave, he would pick up my pencil, and he'd take a screwdriver with a little hammer and pound little dents into my pencil to mess with me. He kept that joke up for 2 years before I caught him. I mean, this thing had so many dents. This thing had so many dents on it. It was incredible. One of the great practical jokes of all time. I stopped putting the pencil in my mouth, and it kept on getting more and more dents. So I had to like double back and spy on him one day. Anyway, what eventually happens is throughout the day, you can actually just pause and picture the pencil in your mind and remember what you see on it. And that exercise helps you focus. And that's getting into the mental part of focus. Or you can hold on to the physical object and as you go around your day, when you lose focus, just grab it, look at it, and repeat the exercise. It's a wonderful exercise, very simple. It can't get any simpler than that. And I hope you realize that you can pick any object you want and do that. I happen to prefer the pencil just because, I was a teenager when I learned it and it stuck with me all these years. In my next video, I'm going to dive into the mental aspect of focus with a very solid journaling exercise called Morning Pages. Stay tuned.